love reading because I'm a fucking nerd. And I love F1 because I'm a fucking nerd. And this summer break is really getting to me. So I've decided to subject myself to F1 fiction books.
What a stupid action! I'm going home.
Not gonna lie, this series is very hard to get through. If you don't like one book, you're not gonna like the rest of them. And I didn't like one book, so I didn't like the rest of them. All the characters are pretty much the same. Same character, different name. Very 2D. They do have different hobbies though. One likes filming, one likes drawing, one likes like art stuff, and one likes doing puzzles. So I feel like Asher ran out of things that women like to do towards the end of the series. But hey, who doesn't love a good puzzle? Also, all the love interests are arrogant pricks. So that doesn't get you wanting to read them. Don't know what will. The series opens up with the book Throttled. The main characters are Noah and Maya. Everything good about Maya starts and ends with her name. She has the personality of wet ham, and her two character traits is having a brother in F1 and being very, very, very attractive. She is travelling with the F1 circus because of said brother, Santiago, who also happens to be Noah's teammate. So, I guess the trope for this book is brothers best friend, will they, won't they, off limits kind of thing. A perfect quote to sum up Maya is, "No wonder barely any women have jobs in the F1 industry. I doubt I'll be productive working around this hotness day in, day out." Noah, on the other hand, how would I describe Noah in 3 words? Horny sexy pig. Very clear from the get-go that he loves to shag. You know, he puts the cock in cockpit. You say box to him, he's thinking about your mothers. You know, he has the ego of 1,000 men and probably listens to Andrew Tate. So very, very likable guy, The story progresses over 1 season. There's the, you know, will they, won't they? Will these characters get together or would they not? Are they being held back by Maya's brother? I also never get this thing about having the overprotective brother. That is unrealistic. Most unrealistic thing ever. I kind of get it being a parent, but a brother, I have an older brother. He, despite being around for every single birthday, does not know when my birthday is. This man does not care about me, does not even know my name. Obviously not that dramatic, but he does not give a shit about what I do, and that being a weird little trope that happens in books and movies is just insane to me. The majority of the book is them thinking about sex or actually having sex. So if you're into that, hey, this book is just for you. A small positive to take from this is that Noah has a character arc, less of an arc, more like a character wall. He goes to therapy 1 time and realizes, wait, women are people? You know? Yeah, 30 years too late, pal, but at least we got there. Most unrealistic thing is their teammate relationship gets better over the season despite them both competing for the championship, which historically never ends well. Second book is Collided, which I'd say is marginally better than the first. I prefer the main characters to this one. They are Sophie and Liam. You know, I believe Sophie has a life outside of Liam. You know, she is studying something at uni and she has a bit of conflict about what she's going to study, and that's something that's outside of her partner. Maya, however, I believe she's like Nikki from Obsession. You know, when Noah isn't around, she just doesn't do anything. She's there pissing and shitting and stuff. You know, just doesn't exist. She's only there because Noah's there. If Noah wasn't there, Maya's gone. One thing I do like about this series is that it all exists in the same universe. You know, Liam and Noah and Santiago are all racing together. I think the first 2 books, they occur over the same season. So spoiler alert, Liam doesn't win because Noah won in the first one. But that's kind of cool. I can't wait for the Dirty Air multiverse when there's infinite amount of Mayas and Noahs, because we need so many more of these insufferable characters. One version is not enough. Sophie is the daughter of the team principal for Bandini, which is the team that Noah races for, and Liam races for McCoy. So there's a bit of tension there between the rival teams. I guess the trope for this one is best friends to lovers, but we skip the friends part very quickly. Also, there's another team on the grid, right? And two two drivers, they're called Max and Ricardo, which could be a reference to something if you have a little think about. Third book, Red, stars Jax and Elena. Jax is Liam's teammate, and Elena is Jax's PR rep person. I think she did work with Liam, and then she was recommended to help Jax out because, again, he had a bit of a bad boy reputation and they needed to get that fixed. I like their relationship. I think I like this relationship, one of the best ones out of the series. I think the writing did get better in terms of like character building, and the dialogue between the characters was less cringe. But in terms of story, no. Story's a bit mad. I felt in every single book they have a crazy backstory, like a really tragic backstory for one of the characters, for I want to say no reason other than to like justify the character's behavior. But even for like small things, in this one, okay, here's a little story that she added in. Elena is the daughter of a Mexican ambassador, and one night her parents get murdered while she's reading The Hunger Games. You know, while she's cosplaying Katniss Everdeen, her parents are cosplaying Rue. But there's all this tragedy just to give her a reason to be scared of the dark in the future, and so she has to have a nightlight. And then there's a bit where Jax finds out and like comforts her when it's dark, and it's like, she could just be scared of the dark. Mama didn't have to die for this. You can be scared of the dark at your big age, it's okay. Like, I don't have a nightlight. I have a nightlight, okay? It's a little dumpling. And my mum still lives! Yeah, for the story, however, most of it takes place over the summer break. It's like Asha forgot she was writing an F1 fiction. It's just about this couple hanging out in London, because Jax is British. Final book is Redeemed, which is absolutely terrible. I don't even really want to talk about it. The main character is Santiago, if we remember, is Maya's brother. Bad, the book bad. There's a reference to Michael Schumacher in it, which is like comparing him to Santi, who is a 2-time world champion, by the way, and we're comparing him to Shumi. No sir. It's about Santi and some random gal, Chloe, who breaks into his house, and then he's like, yeah, this is my girlfriend now, which isn't that's just psycho behavior. I think both these characters are fucking insane. Yeah, very weird book, and also again just doesn't take place over the F1 season. It's because Santiago had a bad crash. They all have a bad crash, but he had the worst crash, and he lost his leg, so he couldn't drive anymore. So it's just about him being sad all the time. And this random batshit girl turns up, and we meant to care. I really didn't like this one. Sorry. Out of all of them, I guess Collided was the best. But that's like finding the shiniest turd in the turd factory. Another gripe I had with this series is the complete lack of wheel knowledge. Like, I'm not expecting a Bernie Collins analysis of every car and every track, but a little bit of research wouldn't go amiss. You know, one thing she kept referring to the Grand Prix as a prix. No one's ever said that ever. It's already been shortened to GP. You don't need to make up your own slang for it. That like pissed me off more than it should. But just like little things, it's like, it's not that hard to at least pretend you know what you're talking about, you know? Overall, I give these series 2 stars, which I kind of feel bad about, because obviously a lot of effort went into writing the series, but sometimes it ain't worth the effort.
If you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio.
Slipstream is about the Italian ignition driver Arthur and the documentarian Lila. A quote from Lila upon meeting Arthur: he asked Sarah in what seems to be a British accent or Italian, I'm really not sure. Always getting muddled up between the British and Italian accent, me. You know, they always get muddled up between Norris and Antonelli whenever they're yapping over the radio. Thank God they're colour-coded, or I wouldn't know who was speaking. Lila is hired to make a Drive to Survive starring only Arthur. and they agreed to fake date in order to create a scandal which would get Arthur kicked off the team, so that he could be picked up by his dream team, Leon or something. And I see absolutely nothing wrong. 0 flaws in that plan, guys. 0 flaws. I think it'll work out perfectly. They fake date for about 2 seconds, and it's barely even that. Like, they get pictured dancing together one time. Like, minimum effort, guys. Minimum effort. They get together at the end, obviously, after going through a million different plot points. So yeah, happy ending. Everything's grand in the end. There's also a team on the grid called Static, and their cars are yellow. And when there is an odd strategy call, they call it Mustard Rules, which again, subtle reference to some realistic happenings. Think about that one. I actually didn't mind this one as much. It might just be because I've come off the dirty ass slop that anything seems golden compared to that thing. But the main character was alright. I think she was, I mean, albeit a little bit annoying, she was relatable, she was kind of likable, and she was well written. Noah, however, I felt like we didn't really get to learn all that much about Noah until like the end, where there's this whole backstory to him. But he did have that bad boy reputation that they all seem to have, but it was more subtle, I think. He was less annoying than the other lot. I felt as though the author added too many plot points though that didn't really blend together all that well or really add to the plot. Like, there was a fake dating thing, there was her ex-boyfriend taking over the company so she couldn't earn anything from the documentary or whatever. There was some Disney villain-esque uncle. There was her foster mum popping up out of nowhere, and there was her constant mention of her having ADHD. Like, there was just a lot of stuff happening that didn't really seem like it had to be happening, you know? Overall, I enjoyed the writer's style, and from what I can see, it's a debut novel. With a stronger, more cohesive plot, I can see this being a pretty good read. A second book is meant to be coming out this year, I think, so I hope there's, you know, some more improvements. Overall, I give this one 3 stars.
I've got a fucking McLaren up my ass.
I don't know if my brain is melted from reading too many of these books, but this one was actually pretty good. Maisie is a well-written, well-rounded character. She feels like a real person, other than the other female leads, which kind of feel written in just for the sake of romance. She's also in sports, like the love interest Giovanni. She does biking, so it's kind of cool to see them. They have like some kind of relatability there over competitive sports. It's a fake dating trope, and there's also a genuine reason for both characters to do this. Like, Maisie is studying sports psychology, so getting her in with Giovanni, or Gio they call him, she can learn more about the psychology and have them meet the people in the sport, which can help her with her degree. What was Gio's motive? Oh, and then Giovanni's one is to fix his reputation, which I don't like how that in every single one it's the bad reputation fix, the reputation burden. Like, we need drivers that are like based on Alex Albon or Daniel Ricciardo-esque ones that are just like sweet fun little guys that are just hanging out. You know, we need a book based on those guys. I wish the author went more into Gio's character. Like, we kind of learn facts about him rather than who he actually is. We do learn one thing, is that he loves to pop out of nowhere multiple times. She's at work one time, he pops out of the blue. He's like, she's at home, he pops out of the blue. This guy's a fucking Bob Jack in the Box. There is a little twist at the end with his rival teammate, which I didn't see coming. There's a crazy ex-girlfriend, and there's a Sainsbury's mention. So what more can you want? I rate this one 3.5 stars.
Get out of the fucking way, you idiot!
Classic F1 romance tripe. Enemies to lovers, I guess. Olivia, the main character, has a personality of a wet tissue. Being a woman in F1 and liking coffee is not personality traits, they're just facts. Olivia works for the F1 Way, which is an F1 journalist company, and she claims she has a completely unbiased objective opinion, yet her favourite driver is clearly Jonah, who is the love interest. You know, she only interviews Jonah. She goes on an hot lap with him. She goes on a week holiday with him and then claims like he's not my favorite driver. She even says, oh, my favorite driver is Jonah, but in her head only to the readers. And it's like, yeah, you're allowed to have a favorite driver, just be honest about it. You can have a favorite driver and still be objective, you know. Max Verstappen, my favorite guy, but Lando Norris in Hungary, he was going as fast as a man sprinting from a nightclub. It's very hard to root for these guys when, again, the relationship is mostly built on how much they want to shag each other. One thing I did like about this was her group of friends. Like there was like the found family trope. So she had a little group that she hung out with, which was kind of cute. They did always talk about Jonah though, so this book does not pass the Bechdel test. Bechdel test, if that's how you pronounce it. I also like that the author was British, so there was insults like twat, knob, bellend. I also think Jonah was the better character in this one, which is odd because men are never better, but he seemed like a nicer person, if not a bit emotionally inept. Like, he would buy her coffee, minimal stuff, but he would buy her coffee when she was over in London. He was in Monaco. He would like order it to her house, which is quite sweet. He also went, when he asked to move in with him, he checked out all the coffees and the local coffees, the cafes in the local area to find what the favourite coffee is. If you couldn't tell, she loves coffee. This guy loves coffee. That is how she loved. Don't speak to me till I've had my coffee. That is Olivia right there. She loves coffee. And in the final race, he had her dad's name written on his car. Very unrealistic, I know, but it's sweet because her dad passed away, and then he had his name on the car, and it's like, oh, now he's done some laps with me, and I thought that was very sweet. Overall, I give this one 2 out of 5. Out of all these books, I recommend Lights Out if you enjoy cringy romance that is easy to read. This one's for you. I don't think any of these books were good per se, but they're exactly what it says on the tin, you know. It says don't judge a book by its cover, but definitely judge these books by their cover. It's exactly what you think it's gonna be. I'm not a big romance reader, so I might have not got as, you know, the same amount of enjoyment out of these books as others might. But if this video does well, I will read more of them. There's a surprisingly large amount of F1 fiction books out there. I didn't know it was such a popular like category of books. Also, if you do have any recommendations, comment, I don't know, if you do, because I yearn to find a decently good one. Thank you for watching. I can't wait for the summer break to end. Like and subscribe.